Trouble engaging your learners? This course will reveal my 7 simple and practical tips for increasing learner engagement. I'm Naftali Bryant, a lover of learning and an expert in developing engaging learning. As we get started, reflect on these 3 questions. Where is your organization today? Where do you want it to be tomorrow, and how can you help it get there? This will help you maximize engagement and build the foundations for learning to create a competitive advantage in your organization. Are you ready for this? Let's get rolling. Let's face it, learner engagement has become more challenging than ever. After working remotely from our homes for more than 2 years during the height of the pandemic, many of our employees have started returning to some semblance of the office. They tirelessly work to adjust to the next normal and are hungry to be engaged. Employees are changing their feelings about their jobs, workplaces, and lives. Their expectations for growth and development have increased. They're willing to leave their current organizations to find a new career field or company that allows them to grow in new, engaging ways. As learning leaders, we are challenged with the critical need for employees to learn new ways of thinking, acting, and working to thrive in an uncertain work and economic environment. There is no magic wand, silver bullet, or crystal ball, or even a secret code to solve these challenges. However, when we understand and embrace them, we can work at overcoming them. Here are the top challenges standing in the way of learner engagement we need to be aware of. Challenge number 1, retaining talent during the great you pick an R, and by that I mean resignation, reevaluation, reshuffle, and reconnection. Addressing all these R's requires a significant amount of upskilling and reskilling to tackle the most pressing learning needs in our organizations. Challenge number 2, instability of employee mental health and well-being. Our employees are suffering. They want companies to act more humanly, and remote working has given employees a greater understanding and concern for their well-being. Challenge number 3, adapting to more deliberate hybrid working models. Organizations have shifted to remote, fully remote, or hybrid working models. The design of our learning strategies is being pushed to figure out the best way to engage learners in their multiple working contexts. And the challenge of learner engagement is even harder in our information-saturated, fast-moving world. The more clear we are about the challenges we face to engage our learners, the more intentional we can be about devising strategies and tactics to combat those challenges. Leadership expert and author John C. Maxwell says, "Success is due to our stretching to life's challenges. Failure comes when we shrink from them." This week, take a moment to answer this question. What is the number 1 challenge facing your organization? What is the first step to truly overcome that challenge to engaging your learners? Jot down your answers in the notes section and begin to think of ways you can take action. When I log into the LinkedIn Learning platform, I'm immersed in an experience that meets my learning needs. It starts with the top picks of learning content crafted for topics I care about. LinkedIn Learning curates content related to courses I've already watched and appeals to my innate desire to learn and grow. I'm typically a busy guy, and the platform highlights content that I can learn in 30 minutes or less, or maybe even 15 minutes or less if I watch at 2 times speed. Not only does LinkedIn Learning provide great content, but it also gives me an experience that accelerates my growth. That's why I come back again and again to learn more and see what I didn't realize I needed to learn. The reality is that the more something feels relevant to my context and personalized to fit my unique learning needs, the more this increases my engagement as a learner and ultimately my ability to learn. You may be saying, "Naftali, that sounds great, but how do I know if my existing learning content is relevant enough and personalized to meet my learners' needs and increase learner engagement?" As learning leaders and HR professionals, we need to understand a core truth. Learner engagement is an individualized journey. Our learning content and experiences are a form of entertainment. The better the experience someone has with the learning you create, the higher the level of learner engagement. Try one or more of these core practices. Create learning personas. Doing this enables you to understand your audience better. Spend some time getting to understand the learning profiles within your organization. This could be the overworked manager, the new employee, the tenured leader, or the regional team member. Once you understand what people need and are experiencing, you will create more engaging learning. Connect the learning to their day-to-day reality. We need to do a better job of selecting content that is pertinent to the actual expected tasks and behaviors demonstrated by our employees. Learning experiences must be designed so it's obvious how the material, concepts, and context shared relate to a learner's day-to-day. Amplify the voices of your learners. Give learners a voice in what they learn and how they learn it, helping to ensure topics stay relevant and meaningful to them. For example, conduct listening sessions, distribute pulse surveys on learning effectiveness, gather post-learning feedback, and feature learning in your organization's regular rhythms of communication. Relevant and personalized learning has clear benefits to the learner and your organization, helping learners improve their results, including shortening learning time and time to productivity, improving the skills that will have the most impact, improving performance at work, and increasing overall health and well-being. What critical questions do you need to answer about the current relevancy and personalization of your learning experiences? Take a moment and type in your notebook one core practice you're going to implement to make learning more relevant and meaningful this week. You'll be amazed by what you come up with. Did you know that according to a new study by McKinsey, lack of career advancement and development is now the top reason why people leave their jobs? 41% of respondents cited a lack of internal opportunities, while only 36% cited inadequate compensation, making career mobility more important for retention than even compensation. Talent attraction and retention remain top of mind in this tight job market for all of us. This is where we can help by illuminating the connection between what a person learns and how it can accelerate career growth. To boost learner engagement, we must create strong learning experiences and programs that build skills, behaviors, and mindsets that transcend an employee's current position and sets them up for future success. Here are a few practices that lead to learners experiencing greater job satisfaction while advancing their careers. Develop learning for the most in-demand skills. Take the time to help your learners gain the skills they are hungry for to achieve their personal and professional goals. For example, skills like communication, creativity, emotional intelligence, leading themselves through change, and well-being. This increases your learners' market value. Activate the influence of your managers. According to research done by LinkedIn, 91% of employees say it is important to inspire learning and experimentation. The data also highlights that if your company can excel at internal mobility, you'll be able to retain employees for an average of 5.4 years. This is 2 times longer than the average retention span. Managers have an outsized impact on their employees' career growth and development. When managers encourage participation, implementation, and most of all, curiosity, it helps employees feel good about their learning experiences and make them want to come back for more. For example, encourage your managers to set one strong developmental goal focused on the employee's potential to advance in their career. Use digital micro-credentials and learning badges. Learners want to validate the specific skills and competencies they've learned. Give your learners the ability to capture their skills in a way that traditional resumes just can't. For example, you could provide learners micro-credentials or learning badges for completing a rigorous leadership development program, or enable them to receive a certification in an internal conflict management course. This will help others within the company recognize their skills and digitally complete past learning activities and experiences. We all want to grow in our careers. In many cases, we fail to be intentional about what that growth can look like and the learning experiences that will get us there. We have a unique opportunity to help employees uncover what is possible in their careers through more engaging and impactful learning. Let's ensure our learners can see a connection between the investment they are making in learning and a faster track toward more exposure to the right people and experiences they need to succeed. When this happens, they will be more engaged and fulfilled. Take a minute and reflect on this question in your notebook. What is one thing you can do to help learners make the connection between learning you create and their career growth? You can influence and impact learner engagement more deeply if within your learning strategy, you focus on creating team-based learning experiences. Today, the work in our organizations is highly collaborative. It happens in teams. And guess what? So does learning. When we prioritize creating team-based learning experiences, we increase the opportunities for group learning and the intrinsic motivation of our learners. It also helps us to broaden the skills of our learners and create stronger teams. A team-based learning experience has 3 elements. The first element relates to individual and team success, like strengthening communication and goal setting. Secondly, it is designed to empower peer feedback and accountability. And third, it allows learners to have a strategic group discussion or debate relevant to the application within the team and the broader organization. Here are 3 ways you can develop a team-based learning experience right now. First, develop a team learning roadmap. Team learning roadmaps guide a team's learning journey together in a deliberate set of learning experiences. It focuses on building core team behaviors, skills, and capabilities to deepen team trust, connection, and engagement. For example, I recently worked with an executive to create a learning roadmap for his team. It included a 3-month learning journey with 2 monthly sessions focused on workshops on communication, leadership, and conflict management skills. The offering then became an everyday learning experience available to any manager and team within the organization. You can find out what components need to go into a team learning roadmap by interviewing key leaders across the business. This helps to understand the challenges better, identify themes, and determine how learning can help. Next, implement cohort-based learning. Cohort-based learning groups your learners together so they have a focused and more connected learning experience. They enable authentic engagement, vulnerable sharing of stories and experiences, and group and peer connection and debate. For example, you could bring together a group of new managers to focus on increasing their ability to build high-performing teams. Be sure to keep the cohort size manageable and include elements of pre- and post-work exercises where they engage with each other to understand the content better and keep the group engaged. Lastly, create coaching circles. Coaching circles usually involve small groups of peers coaching each other. It offers a trusting environment for them to explore the challenges and complexities of their roles and design effective and authentic ways to maximize their performance. A key thing to note is these coaching circles are more effective when they are led by the participants without the learning facilitator. Our learners grow pretty well as individual learners, but they are most fulfilled, inspired, and motivated when they learn from and with each other. Now it's your turn to reflect. Use the course notebook to jot down your thoughts on the team-based learning experiences I've mentioned here. Which one resonates with you the most? What type of impact could that experience have on increasing learner engagement and effectiveness within your organization? Magnus Carlsen said, "When you have fun, then you are more interested in learning." One of the coolest field trips I ever went on was to a theme park. I recall walking around the park and getting on the rides with my eyes filled with wonder and excitement. When was the last time you created that level of fun and excitement for your learners? You can create something unique by tapping into the inner child within all of your learners by incorporating fun in your learning experiences. With the rise of remote and hybrid learning, you can leverage many more tools and techniques to bring the boom back into your learning and increase attention, participation, and engagement. Let's take a look at a few of my favorite techniques that are simple and easy to apply. Partner with fun vendors. There are many exciting vendors that can help you bring the fun into your learning experiences. For example, I recently used the vendor Baijingo, a drama-based improv training company, to partner on delivering feedback workshops to managers. They provided role play as actors for our managers to practice giving and receiving feedback. The course was a huge success, and participation and engagement was at an all-time high. Use engaging learning tools and approaches. In a virtual and hybrid learning environment, the use of tools and technologies can bolster your learners' energy and excitement for learning. One of my favorite tools is the random question generator from teambuilding.com. The tool randomly selects different types of questions that spark conversation. I've used this tool in both virtual and in-person workshops. For example, for a virtual workshop, you can drop the question in the chat to get people engaging and interacting with each other prior to the start of the workshop. And if you're in person, you can set up breakout groups with a series of these random questions for your learners to discuss with each other. Incorporate learning games. Learning games are designed to provide a hands-on experience that is engaging. Games have the ability to bring out a little bit of fun and competition for your learners. For example, I added a tower building game from Korn Ferry to a leadership development experience focused on increasing leadership effectiveness. Leaders were blindfolded and had to work together using kids blocks to maximize their performance and meet the game's objective. We must take creative risks by making every learning experience feel like a field trip to your favorite theme park. Take a moment to think about your most memorable experience. What made that experience so memorable? For me, it was my wedding day. I remember all the wonderful pomp and circumstance, attention to detail, surprises, and special moments my wife and I created for ourselves and our guests that day. Truly memorable. Our learning experiences can create memorable moments of learning and engagement for our learners. We need to have some core principles that guide us, though, to create that experience every time. Here are the 4 principles I use to ensure every learning experience is a memorable one. First, develop a vision of success. Without a vision for success for what you hope to create for your learners, you will never be able to create that memorable moment that stays with them. Second, create an environment that is inclusive and comfortable for all learners. When your learners feel included, regardless of their background, experience, or identity, they become more vulnerable and engaged in the learning experience much more deeply. We must prioritize creating our learning experiences and the environment that create the space for that to happen. Third, design learning takeaways that learners will use. Too many times, learning programs or experiences just end without something for learners to take away and actually go do. I like to leverage learning takeaway guides as a key element of learning experiences. The takeaway guides have 3 key actions that a learner can take within the next 30, 60, or 90 days to put into action the learning that they just participated in. The final principle is to create a do-it-yourself or DIY opportunity. You can leverage a method like see it, try it, do it. Try this method. It's handy when you want to engage your learners. You first teach the concept, you then let them teach the concept back to you, and you give them the opportunity within your learning experience to do it themselves through either deliberate practice, debate, or even case studies and scenarios where discussion can take place to bring it into their real-world context. Just like I want to sit back and relive my wedding day over and over again, and anytime I think about it, I can transport myself back to that experience. Help your learners transport back to the experiences you've created because they were memorable, impactful, and easily transferable back to the workplace. In the Q&A, take a moment to jot down one idea you can implement within the next 30 days to make your learning experiences more memorable. For our learners to have an excellent experience in any program or initiative we build and deploy, the experiences need to deliver a blend of the impact that illuminates the mind and touches the heart. Think about the last time you watched a great movie. You might have laughed, cried, and reflected on what you saw on the big screen. Our learners are looking for a movie-like experience that connects all the senses, inspiring them to learn and grow. At the core of those senses are our hearts and our minds. Here are 3 simple tactics you can use to do this today in your organization. First, leverage human-centered design. A sense of belonging, shared leadership, and learning as a lifetime personal practice are all components of human-centered learning design. By leveraging this design for our learning experiences, we are increasing people's ability to understand who they are, what they need, and how to navigate best and engage in our organization's learning ecosystem. Human-centered design enables you to tailor your courses to each person. For instance, your busy sales team can benefit greatly from microlearning, whereas your designers would benefit more from interactive, gamified content. You will experience higher learning engagement, better performance outcomes, and more positive feedback than ever by providing your learners with the precise material, format, and schedule that works for them. Next up, create an emotional connection. Though most of your learners wouldn't admit nor consider learning an emotional experience, however, research shows that emotion is essential for sustained learning and cognitive development. For example, in my learning experiences and programs, I leverage powerful quotes from thought leaders on leadership and remind managers of the employees they lead who are not participating in the learning experiences, who are counting on them to get it right. Additionally, you can incorporate engaging video content like whiteboard video animation from companies like Ink Factory. These methods have the power to deepen learner engagement and strengthen the connection between what our mind is yearning to learn and what fills our heart, compelling us to act on what we are learning. Show appreciation for your learners. The behavior of our learners can be greatly influenced by appreciation. Effective appreciation can enhance the workshop's overall learning environment. Instead of praising learners' brains, learning instructors should concentrate on praising them for their efforts and problem-solving techniques. Based on that, it brings out the best in learners and aids in their development of self-worth. Learners become more successful and optimistic as a result. For example, this can be done verbally with phrases like, "You've just about mastered that," "You can do hard things," or through awards for various achievements at the end of the completion of a virtual training session. Pull up that notes section in the course and jot down 2 immediate actions you can take to better engage hearts and minds in your next learning experience. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have as you start to implement these actions. Just jump back into the course and use the Q&A feature. Aristotle once said, "Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all." There is a distance of 18 inches between our head and our heart. Let's make sure we inspire and engage our learners to travel that distance seamlessly. In the American sport of football, when you run the correct plays, you're able to move your team down the field almost effortlessly. Then the payoff at the end is getting to the end zone and scoring a touchdown. According to research, employees who spend time at work learning are 47% less likely to be stressed, 39% more likely to feel productive and successful, and 23% more ready to take on additional responsibilities. But how is this possible? Enter learning in the flow of work, originally coined by Josh Bersin back in 2018. Basically reflects the idea that our learners should have access to the right information at the right time to enable their learning needs and priorities without overly disrupting their day-to-day work. When our learning experiences ignite and enable learning in the flow of work, it's like helping our learners score that proverbial touchdown every time. However, in order to do this, we must know the plays. So let's get to the 3 key plays you need to execute. Play number 1. Integrate learning within apps and tools employees are already using. Our learners are engaging with tools and technologies throughout their workday. Many tools like Slack and Microsoft Teams offer apps and tools that can deliver bite-sized learning and micro-learning that are just in time and easy to absorb. For example, I once created a manager upskilling program using a Slack-based tool that would drip learning to frontline managers on a bi-weekly cadence. This tool helped increase manager engagement scores by 20%. Play number 2, provide access to different learning modalities. Access to different kinds of learning, including experiential learning and development such as simulations, role-playing, and on-the-job training, encourages learning by doing and can easily fit into the regular day-to-day rhythm of where learning can have the greatest impact. An example of a learning modality could be an on-demand learning solution, like the one you're accessing now on LinkedIn Learning. Learners need to be able to access content when and where they need it. We don't have the luxury to just schedule in-person training anymore. And if you don't have a high-quality on-demand learning solution, it could cause a significant decrease in your ability to engage your learners and keep them productive. The final play, curate and then curate learning again. Look, you don't need to develop all the content your learners need by yourself to create strong learning experiences and elevate learner engagement. However, you need to be strategic about leveraging existing videos, job aids, infographics, microlearnings, and learning resources that line up nicely with your organization's learning needs. Your goal should be that your learning ecosystem is being recognized by your learners as the go-to source for relevant, vetted, well-curated content. But wait, one watch out is to ensure you don't get carried away by inundating your learners with too much in the flow of work learning and content, because not every solution should be focused on learning in the flow of work. Our daily work is a never-ending cycle of learning. When you execute these plays, you make learning easier, more accessible, and integrated into that learning cycle, allowing every one of your learners to score touchdown after touchdown and have their A game shine through each day. Open up your notebook below and take a minute and jot down one manageable step worth taking within the next 2 weeks to activate or reignite learning in the flow of work in your organization. As learning and HR professionals, we know that engaging our learners is key to ensuring that they retain and apply the information necessary to drive impact in our organizations. But where can you find the resources and tools to help your learners achieve true engagement? There are many websites, books, technologies, and organizations that focus on learning and development, and they can be a wealth of information on how to engage learners. Some of my favorites include the Association for Talent Development, or ATD. This is the world's largest association for workplace learning and development professionals. They offer a wealth of information, including research studies, articles, best practices in workplace learning and development, and how to engage learners. E-learning industry. This website provides a wealth of information on all things e-learning, including articles, case studies, and interviews with industry experts on how to increase learner engagement. 7Taps, a micro-learning tool that allows you to create engaging content within minutes, bringing training to people faster, eliminating data overload, and creating Instagram-style content. This drives behavior change, increases learner motivation, and provides an enjoyable experience for your learners. And lastly, Josh Bersin Academy, a global professional development academy for HR professionals where you can join a community of colleagues from around the globe who are engaging on many areas of HR, including learning and development, with the wealth of research, practical exercises, and cohort-based learning to upskill yourself and your organization. By taking advantage of these helpful tools and many other resources, you can stay up to date on the latest trends and best practices in engaging learners. For additional learning courses to help you drive learner engagement, check out my other courses, Creating a Culture of Learning and Creating Inclusive Learning Experiences. I hope you found this information helpful and that you'll take advantage of these resources and technologies to engage your learners in new and innovative ways. Put one finger in the air for me. It only takes one learner to be more engaged than they were before to make a difference in your organization. You have what it takes.